Casey.
Shane.
Can you smell me?
I smell what you're stepping in.
I didn't step in nothing, man. But I did play golf all day. I woke up. So you
look tired.
My life is not like normal people's life. All right? Lately, it's summertime. Depending on when you're listening to this, now you know. Summertime, and the living is hot. It's hot is what it is. In the south of the United States of America, Arkansas.
Where the humidity loves to grow.
That's right. Where the green grass grows. Anyhow, I woke up at 10:30 this morning, which for me is the equivalent of a normal person of shaking you awake at 4 a.m. All right?
Yeah, I was wondering why you were texting me so early in the day.
Yeah, so me and the homie Valerie, she works nights. I tend to do a lot of stuff at night. Her proper big girl job has legitimized my absurd schedule. And so when I want to play some golf, I've just got to get up and do it. Oh. I woke up like a concussed boxer this morning.
Oh, I hate that.
Falling over. Just legs not happening. The sleep paralysis demon was still standing there like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to golf, bro.
You do look a little rough, not going to lie.
I could not have cut past NFL concussion protocol at 10:30 this morning. It would have been impossible. It was mumbly. It was terrible. I played terrible golf. It's the first golf I've played in a month. And
just weren't feeling it? Or
well, I was asleep. Wasn't I?
There you go.
But I got it done, picked up something, ran it to the house, came here to be with you guys today. Sharp as a tack, an old, rusty, been-up tack. Your boy is here for another episode of 40K Fanatics podcast, where we talk about Warhammer 40,000 and its various satellite games, as well as others. The miniature wargaming hobby et al.
The hobby and everything around it.
That's the thing we're doing. And today we've got one of my favorite things to do, which is the dueling list.
Yes, a new addition relatively to what we do here. We are going to be doing two different lists fighting against each other.
I've got an outside looking in.
Yeah, and I have an outside looking in.
Look at us. Mine is a top 3.
I'm a professional now.
Mine is only a top 3 list. You've got 5, I believe.
I do.
With an OLI, so that's not a top 6. That's not what that means.
No, bonus fries is what that means.
That's right. That's right. It doesn't mean that the outside looking in belongs in the pantheon of greatness that is the made up list that took approximately 14 seconds to come up with. It's just an also ran. And today's topic is going to connect a little bit to our bits box, which we're going to open now. And the bits box is what?
What's that?
What is the bits box?
The bits box is what we talk about in the daily or weekly life of Shane and Casey, where we talk about what we did in the hobby or around it.
You got caught out. You thought you were going to make bits box opening sound.
I was because I'm always keyed up. I am ready.
Go ahead and open the bits.
Keep that thing.
Go ahead and open the bits box. Casey, what did you do in the hobby this week?
Well, what did I do in the hobby? As you know, I have now made a new gaming space for both of us. Shane has set up a nice, pretty gaming space at his house where he has a gaming table, and I've gone over there twice now, and we've played quite a few games. Here, at my home, I have situated a new gaming table for us, which was supposed to be a surprise for you, but I jumped the gun a little bit. I got too excited because there's going to be a new, what would you call it? A new gaming community, Hobby Fest, Comic-Con style thing going on where we go and play a 40K tournament this week. And I invited everybody in town to come play at my house. So
you did?
Yes, I did. I was like, hey, everybody in the community who lives like within 10 minutes, come over here. Let's play some 40K.
When are you doing this?
I already did last week. Oh. And you were like, oh, wait, I didn't know you had a table. And I was like, dang it.
I got no invite to this.
Yes, because what my plan was a couple months ago, I told you, I have plans, I have secrets, I have projects in the makings. And then you thought it was my Gorkanaut and my Stompa.
I did.
But it was actually, I had...
and it was?
A little bit it was. But I also had this new table that I had received from somebody in our community. Had it bit by bit in my garage, which Shane has not been in since last summer. Thank goodness.
Haven't missed it.
Right. The Grimdark garage. Now we're in the Grimdark what did you say? Grimdark Shed? Man
Woodshed.
cave?
The woodshed. Take you out to / behind, stroke inside the woodshed.
It's got heat in there.
Where beatings take place.
So, yeah, that's what's going to happen on this new gaming table. We're going to get more games in. We're going to have a lot more fun. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get into streaming our games.
We'll see.
The sky is the limit. I mean, now we both can just go to each other's houses on a random weekend. Alternate if we want to.
I think we should talk about at-home gaming spaces in a future pod.
That would be dope. I'd really like that.
Top 5
I'm surprised
tips
we're not doing it right now.
Well, because we came up with something else.
We did.
You know, I did ask you.
I know, that was too soon. I wanted you out here first.
Show meeting time.
Show meeting.
For all of you people. Casey, 3 weeks in a row I've asked you for topics, and I believe it's been 3 weeks in a row you've been like, I got nothing.
Well, it's not really been I got nothing. It's more like, you do you, boo-boo, because I support you. I know you can come up with you are the man you can give anything to, and you can just run with it.
Now, how have you turned this around to make me look like the asshole?
How is that making you look like that? And why do we have to censor that now?
I don't think we do.
Oh, we don't?
No.
Oh, okay. No. You're such a great guy. I can rely on you to come up with topics. Because you give me the handle. We're talking about a lore topic, sir.
That's true. You know what? I expect a bit of lore today. Yes. With our list, because what I've done in my bits box this week, what I've done in the miniature hobby this week, is I've been continuing on my Khorne Lord of Skulls.
Yes.
And it is looking righteous.
That's some of your best work. I actually texted a guy earlier today. He said, man, those models you painted were great. And I was like, no, sir. That was Shane. And that is the best he has done.
Yeah, I mean, it is a weekly reminder to all of our listeners that I do, in fact, paint stuff. But it's a big old chonky project.
Ooh, boy, is it ever.
The Khorne Lord of Skulls is one of these Titanic things. It is not a Titan, but it's close. And
does it have the Titanic keyword?
It does have the Titanic keyword. Okay, it is Chungus. Big Chungus.
Boy, oh boy.
And it's got a lot of parts, and it's got a lot of bits, and it's got a lot of things that require paint to go on them, because you and I, for those of you that don't know, if you're new here, we are super bougie. I personally have never played a gray model in a game of 40K, or anything else for that matter, and I don't intend to start. And as a person who is interested in gaming insofar as to play a lot of games and, you know, be interested in appearing at some tournaments, I'm not that concerned with winning. Therefore, my army is more of a collection. It's a curated collection of things that I like. Each model, you know, within reason. I mean, you can only care so much about Cultist number 7 or
Fair.
17. But for the most part, especially characters, big stuff, vehicles, they all get a lot of attention. And this Khorne Lord of Skulls costs $180, I think, is what it had on the box.
Boy.
And I think that it is a terrible shame when these centerpiece models, these giant, glorious models, are done a little bit slipshod, a little quick, a little low effort, a little rushed. Yeah,
a little rushed.
And so I'm not doing that. But in today's episode, when we get to the main topic, we're going to talk about Titanic models, and how to paint them and things of that sort. And I figure your list is different than mine. I feel like we're going to get some good lore nuggets on some of these big chunky boys. So that's been my whole bits box.
That's pretty much my whole bits box. We have a new gaming space. Clap, clap, clap. Applause. All done.
And you yourself have been working on painting a Titanic model.
Yes, I have.
It showed up in the Whip Wednesday.
You are correct.
Your orange Stampa.
Yes, it started out, got it free from a dude in my community, so I can't complain.
Free's a good price.
Free is for a model that costs like $120-something. Bought this bad boy, and he was covered in cobwebs, dust, and house paint. You ought to know, because last time we had a game, you put a Post-it note with its wound counts on it, wouldn't even stick to it because of the amount of dust.
Yeah, and it was painted brick red.
Oh, yeah. House paint, primer, brick red. Nasty. So I went in.
You just primed right over that, didn't you?
No. I actually got some air duster for like keyboards and stuff. Sprayed off most of the dust. and then went back to town with some awesome yellow and silver metallic primer. Lead Belcher. Looks pretty good. Going to add a few more touches before we go to the tournament this week.
You lead belch your entire boy?
Not the whole boy, just the arms and stuff. Okay. But he looks good. I seen you pick.
Yeah, he's on his way.
He is on his way. He's a preemie.
I'm finally going to play Tyranids. By the time this comes out, I'll have played a game against some Tyranids for the first time in my history of playing 40K.
Really?
Yes. Somehow, the bugs have been... They've been in the vents, I guess.
They can't. They hate the taste of chaos taint.
They don't want these hands.
They don't want these hands.
The hive mind knows better. Anyway, that's my bits box. Close that joker and let's get into our main topic.
Shane,
you've got more to your list. What is your list?
My list is Casey's top 5 Titanic or large minis.
I like it.
Because I love some of these. They look nice.
Like it. Warlord Titan.
Oh, yeah. Warlord?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
They look real, like the big chunks. As big as my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to start with my OLI.
I'll go ahead and give my OLI as well. Now, my list is different. My list
you go.
Is top 5 strategies to tackle these bigger hobby projects, such as, and you know, we did a terrain painting video, and 7 of you listened to it. But that had some of this kind of energy, but this is a little more even finely tuned for things that are not old ruined walls.
Yeah.
But that are large, that are going to take a lot of time, that can be daunting, that can be, you know, biting off more than one could chew, at least it may seem in the beginning. But go ahead and give me your OLI for your personal favorite. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Favorite Titanic models.
My personal favorites. My OLI will have to be the Knight Abominant.
The Knight Abominant. Remind me, the Knight Abominant, that's a Chaos Knight?
Yes, it is.
That's the one with the crows on top.
Yes, it is, because I love me some good birds.
I love that one.
I love it. Man, you see this thing and you think, oh, dude, how can I make a Chaos Terminator but the size of a building? Because, man, this thing has tusks, it's got birds, it's got tendrils, it's got a big old Mauler Fiend cannon for an arm. This thing wrecks. Now, this thing is my OLI because of that drip. The thing looks awesome, okay? Not only that, but it has a melee profile, a good ballistics profile. It's extremely intimidating with those tusks on the front of its helm, as well as all the buzzards on its back. In the lore, this thing reeks out warp energy all around it, mutating anyone within range. That is just insane to me. And it looks like it stepped out of an Edgar Allan Poe poem. I mean, come on. That thing's awesome.
I like it. My OLI is to tackle that, to tackle getting your Knight Abominant painted.
There you go.
Looking good on the table, is to come up with a plan. Now.
Yes.
What do I mean? People will say, well, duh. I'm going to do a black and white paint scheme.
Well, that's why it's an OLI.
Also, that's not a plan. That's a paint scheme. A plan is, you're going to do the white first or the black first? Because it's going to matter. Is it just going to be black and white like a checkered flag? Are you gonna bake in some sort of values, some fades, some blends between those things? How are you going to do that? You got to have a plan. I'm going to reference a lot of what I've been doing. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is going to come from the bits box. But, yeah, sub-assemblies are a thing. Is there a piece of this thing that if you glue it on now, will it cause you evenings of heartache in the future?
Exactly.
That's some stuff that you got to figure out. If you want to do big plasma coils on the weapons...
And use an airbrush.
You better not put the weapon on now, because if you're going to airbrush some plasma coils, you're not going to want to... What are you going to hold a piece of card in front of all the rest that you've done?
Save yourself some time and effort.
Come up with a plan. A real plan.
Real one.
and try to stick to it.
I love it.
Halfway through, you may discover your plan's crap, but like I always say, this is a me quote. Bad plan's better than no plan.
Exactly. So
which of course is nonsense. Yeah. So now I'll come in at your number 3, so you can knock out 5 and 4 at your leisure.
Number 5. I'm talking about the Mechanicum Ordinatus Ulator.
What is that?
Now, that is an amazing model for 2 lore reasons. This bad boy was around during the time of the Great Crusade and has its beginnings in the Age of Strife when tech was really up there. Now, the Mechanicum, before it was the Mechanicus, used this thing, and it was even rarer than their Titans. This thing is a sonic artillery weapon.
So I'm going to describe it for the listening audience. That is what we mostly have. This is a quad-tracked drilling platform-looking thing. So what it looks like, so it's a cannon.
Looks like a doomsday.
In the sense that you told me it's a cannon.
Doomsday gun, yeah.
But it looks like if you took the drill from Armageddon,
there you go,
put it on 4 tanks, and then mounted it horizontally. It looks like it would pull up, erect the cannon, and then drill into the, maybe the core of a planet and then explode it from the inside, not like a firecracker on your hand.
And it's got dual Volkite cannons on the sides.
It might as well.
I mean, what Volkite weapons are, so it's a little scary. But, back in the day, Horus was such a bad mamma jamma to the Imperium because he took over a forge world that swore its allegiance. They gave him 3 of these things. Boy, howdy did he wreck face.
I wonder how... I've never seen one of those in person. Is it bigger than a... Is it like the same size as a Baneblade?
I would say, roughly around the size of Beyblade, yeah. There's a guy on the back. I don't have really a picture of it, but if you want to Google it, yeah. I just like it. I like it because it's goofy. I like it because it's kind of orky.
The homie Austin will probably put a picture in the YouTube video if you guys go and check us out at 40K Fanatics on YouTube.
Exactly.
And perhaps you can post all these on the X at 40K Fanatics on Twitter/X.
Yeah, tell us what your favorite
where
one is.
You can also listen to me comment about how much I don't like Star Wars The Acolyte. Oh my, what have they done?
Oh boy.
My boy. Look how they massacred my boy. Anyway, number 4.
Number 4, the Warhound Titan.
Warhound Titan. Love the Warhound Titan. He looks like such a good boy with his dog face.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny is that the old Warhound Titans back in the Rogue Trader days, now they actually had sculpted dog heads, caricature style, Garfield-looking dog heads.
The Titans, to me, seem nautical. Like, they have some stuff on them that reminds me of, like, Age of Sail era ships, or at least the romanticized versions of these pirate ships with their ornate mascots and things, and the cannons all bristling out the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd love to see some some artwork on the side of one of their panels like that. Just like some oil painting style stuff.
I can't imagine that there are people that have not done
dope
ships on the sides of their Titan panels.
I just like it. It's
because those panels scream for absurd freehands.
People love freehand on those. But a Warhound Titan is basically the smallest version of Titan and the smallest version you can buy for the game. In the lore, these babies go up while the big Titans slowly move forward. These guys run up, pounce, and move around in packs around their targets, scouting ahead to see who's out there, and then coming back to the bigger Titans to let them know what's up.
So I have a question here. The Knights are Titanic.
Yes.
The Knights are not Titans.
They're not Titans, no.
Are the Knights and the Titans the same thing?
Not similar technology, different factions, really. The Mechanicus keep the Knights running, but the Mechanicus work the Titans. So the Knights are ran by people of extreme will that are born into it, 1 in a million, and they're typically born on night worlds, night houses. The whole "we are the knights who say ni." Exactly.
Right. So the Knights of Ni are piloting a knight, but
Yes.
but the actual Titan.
It's much harder to come across these people, so the Mechanicus just find somebody that they can grab, throw them in there.
Right.
These people
I
are
see.
more aligned towards the Mechanicus belief, so that's what they have.
All right.
Yeah, for the Titans.
Number 3, I jump in here.
Jump in, my man.
My number 3 is when you have your Warhound Titan and you're trying to figure out when you're just looking at it and you're overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the thing. It is my tip to paint the parts that matter. There is an amount of shock and awe involved in any of these Titanic Titans or Titanic keyworded models. They are so large in what we call a miniatures game. They are so fantastic, opulent. I mean, they're expensive too. There's just a lot of wow factor in the very possession of them. Therefore, people tend not to look at the underside of the tracks.
Exactly.
Take the Bane Blade.
There you go.
If you did not paint the bottom of it, no one on the planet would ever care. If you're doing some values and stuff and there's a gun that goes over the top of something, of a piece of armor, and that just ends up being black primer, faded in both directions underneath into the color that you wish for it to be, totally fine. No one is ever going to care.
No one's going to pick it up and look at that spot.
You don't need to paint the inside of the knee joints the same as you do the top of its head. No one's got time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
So,
Body.
my Corn Lord of Skulls, and this is part of the Make the Plan too, he's got some chassis to him.
He does.
Which,
he's busty.
Well, he's got all these armor panels, he's got these tracks, he's got other stuff, right? But then he's got some, chassis bits that are sort of, pistons and things. And nobody ever going to look at those.
Exactly.
So you know what they're getting? Some silver metallic paint, some wash, some dirty down rust action. That's what they're going to get.
Quick and dirty.
Yeah, so it's going to be quick, it's going to be easy, it's also going to be effective. It's going to give a different color. It's going to give something to look at if you do go in there, but it's also going to be something to look at that was a little bit naturally occurring.
Yeah.
The armor panels, I'm being quite careful with. All the gold trim on it, I'm quite careful with. What the heck's happening in all of his track mechanics? I'm gonna rub some dirt on it, and that's gonna be fine. And it should be okay for you guys too, because there's only so many hours in a day. How hard are you trying to try? These are the things you come up with when you're coming up with your plan. But some of this stuff, it's important to remember, does not matter. And listen, let me wax poetically for a moment.
Soapbox alert.
Why do we care? Why do you need these tips? You don't. However, I think the psychology of the lazy painter is often that they think it's too hard. And if you think, I've got to get in there and paint all of this nonsense, I've got to get into all of these crevices and these nooks, these crannies, and paint them to the same level of detail I paint my Space Marine faces, then yeah, it is too hard. It is too big a project. You should probably just lead belcher the whole thing. I, of course, am being facetious. Don't do that. That looks terrible. But cut the corners that need cut.
Yeah.
Don't cut all the corners. That looks terrible. But I think that there is some... I think there are self-imposed barriers that are made where people say, this is too much. There's too much little bits and gubbins.
Finicky.
Right. It's too finicky. And so they throw their hands up of the entire project, in a sense. I mean, People get these things done, but I want you to make them look good. They're giant. It's the first thing people are going to see when they look at your army laid out. They need to have spots. Doesn't have to be the entire project, but there need to be spots on the project where you say, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Love the way you did the bones on this. Those armor panels look great. Oh, this entire weathering pass that's gone over this otherwise normal, paint job makes this really come together. Those are the kind of things you need to focus on, in my opinion. But of course, you could tell me to kick rocks. Casey, what is your number 3?
You mean my number 4?
No, you gave number 4.
No, I gave my OLI, and then I gave my number 5.
Okay, what's your number 4?
My number 4, the Corn Lord of Skulls.
Oh,
yeah. You know what? You reinvigorated me with your pictures of your awesome mini.
Tell me of the Corn Lord of Skulls, because I've not read anything about him.
Now, the Corn Lord of Skulls is just, man, it is your typical demon engine. Well, actually, it's an atypical demon engine. Created in the depths of the warp by the warp forge masters, the warp smiths, maybe even Vashtor himself. Is what they do is they take this visage dedicated to Khorne in the form of a Khornate berserker from the waist up and just plant it on some tracks and watch her go. Decorated by the skulls of the enemies that he runs over or slays. This monster of a unit is powered by 2 things. 1, the greater demon of Khorne that has been put into the shell of this machinery. And 2 giant steam boilers on the back. You probably started painting these. That are powered...
4 big tanks.
4 big tanks of
blood.
Pure... very specific blood, too. And I just read this not that long ago. The blood of murderers boiled to cause a steam-driven power engine of this mechanized murder machine.
It's so silly.
It's so awesome. It's so dumb. It's awesome.
It's just absurd.
And the crime of this model is it's been out for quite a while, but the Games Workshop store has its posed next to an old sculpt Khorne berserker. It's kind of like, whoa, that thing is awesome. What's this derpy little thing next to it? Oh gosh.
So that's your number 4. I have no comment on it. I thought about doing mine in black for Black Legion, but then I thought, no. He is the Corn Lord of Skulls after all. It's going to have to be red, and so to red I went, which is always, red's hard.
Stains a lot.
Red's hard. Go ahead with your number 3.
My number 3.
Since I can't count.
The Tyranid Heridan.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh, boy. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of this fella. Check her out.
Well, that's a dragon.
Yeah, it's a dragon. I love me a Heridan, man. It is such an awesome model. It went to Legends, and this bad boy is basically popped out by the hive mind, sent out, and probably spends its entire life flying nonstop, and is also a troop transport. It transports gargoyles around with it. So even if you see this giant, massive winged beast with 2 biocannons in its wings coming at you doing strafing runs, even if you shoot at it, 20 or 30 gargoyles are going to fall from its breast and start flying at you, shooting flesh-boring living ammunition that tries to murder you.
How big is it?
Boy, this thing
in the lore
is... Oh, boy.
Is it like eating whole ships, or is it just ripping through the sky like Smaug in that terrible Hobbit movie?
Oh, boy, dude. Now, this thing is, if I had to say, I think this is a Neuroceptor next to it. Here you go. A Neuroceptor. It's like, I want to say the size of a Baneblade, bigger than a Baneblade.
Yeah, it looks bigger than a Baneblade.
Bigger than a Baneblade, definitely.
Baneblade, the standard unit of measurement for Titanic Warhammer units.
Everyone knows what those look like. But yeah, it is. It's got no legs, got no hands, just wings, man.
Wild.
The Mechanicum theorized it either flies nonstop or slithers like a snake. No one knows, because if you get too close, you dead.
Is it my number 2 now?
Yes, sir.
My number 2 best way to paint, or good tip. I hate to say best way because you can do this any way you want, but airbrush.
Yes.
Airbrush
Save you a lot of time.
Airbrush save you a lot of time, save you a lot of effort. Airbrush and rattle can are not the same thing. That's another piece of this, okay?
Debatable.
Rattle can is a little bit...
Now, we just talking about painting or priming?
I'm talking about the whole paint. Because
okay.
You see a lot of color done rattle can on big old, because when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about like your tanks and stuff, like your rhinos, your transports, your various little tanks. You see a lot of, if it's supposed to be ultramarine blue, you get a lot of ultramarine blue primer and some trim, and those look pants, I tell you. Pants. The airbrush is your best friend in all of this. I'm not saying that a person cannot make smooth and lovely fades and transitions from the top of the tank to the bottom of the tank. But man, is it hard.
It is.
It's hard just to paint something a color.
It's hard to have skill.
It's hard. It's hard to paint something a color.
Fair.
And it be the color all over and smooth at the scale of a vehicle.
Yes.
Because even if you use a giant brush, then
you'll see strokes.
Yeah, you can end up with like little brush strokes. And that's not what you want. These things are too small to like buff and polish. So the airbrush is the move. I would say that if you are getting an army and you're working your way
downtown, walking fast.
Yeah, let me back up a step. I think that a little tangent here. I think that a lot of people get an army and they don't have many vehicles to start because most of the boxes and stuff
start with infantry.
So you end up painting quite a few infantry, and you've got all the gear to do that, right? You've got your paints, you got your brushes, you got your little odds and ends and stuff, and you're totally well equipped to build and paint that infantry, and maybe like bikes and stuff, right? And then you go get a big old transport, and it's like, now what? And a lot of times, once you decide I'm going to have a somewhat mechanized force, I'm going to buy 2 transports and a tank. And now you're looking down the barrel of painting these 3 boxes all at once. They are not super fun to paint because they're boxes. And I think what one should do when you go and you're like, all right, it's going to be $400 for all my tanks. Add another $200 for an airbrush. Thank me later.
Or let your buddy borrow your air compressor.
Or let your buddy, just steal your homie's air compressor. It helps if he's broken his airbrush beforehand, because then it's sort of like, well, what do you need it for?
I was provoked.
Provoked.
I was provoked.
Well, it turns out that look, I'm still using your compressor. I don't know when I'll give it back, but it was not helping you. So,
fair.
We might both need a new compressor is what I'm saying. Go ahead with your number 2.
My number 2. Boy, oh boy. You know what? I had to really, really, really think about this one. Oh, boy. I would say that my number 2 would have to be the Chaos Reaver Titan.
Another Chaos Titan?
A Chaos Titan.
Oh, right. We had a Chaos Knight, now we've got a Chaos Reaver Titan.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with the Chaos Reaver Titan.
Just remember,
Chaos Reaver Titan. Shout out Squidmar.
Imagine a Titan, but with spikes. Here's a good one.
Oh yeah, Titan with spikes.
Yeah, it's the mid-tier. It's basically the mid-tier version.
Oh, that's the one with the cute face.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that face. That has
kind
a
of
couple
hunched.
Yeah, and that head has got a couple of guys in it too. A lot of people will magnetize that armor plate that is his face.
Yeah.
Put lights in his eyes and stuff like that.
Really nifty, really nifty. There's the basic one. The Reaver Titan is the mid-tier version of your typical Titan. You had the Warhounds as the scouts. Then you've got the Reaver Titans to be your kind of mid-tier. They don't move as fast as the scouts, but they're still, pretty good shooting platforms, pretty good for melee. Because, man, when you see that power fist on that sucker, it is redonkulous. Plus, I love that you can just put a giant missile pod on its shoulders.
Yeah, it's great.
And the fact that it's chaos, too, gives it so much more uniqueness than the basic Reaver Titan.
How did the Titans get to something? Because they're bigger than Skyscraper Giant in the lore, right? Yeah, but I mean, how do they get to the planet that the battle's happening on?
They get on a ship, and then they just drop down.
I guess I don't have a good sense for the scale of the ships.
They're very big. Yeah, the ships are ridiculously big, especially mechanic ships. So, I mean, it takes a while to get them going, but they'll get there.
Question. The big Titan, how tall?
Warhound Titan. Yeah. Or Warlord Titan.
Yeah, Warlord Titan. How tall is it in lore? Is it it's Mount Everest size, is it not?
It's pretty big. It's actually not even the biggest. I
just have to imagine that the size of these ships, it sounds like sometimes they must roll up to a planet and accidentally knock a moon out of orbit.
Well, the model itself is 2 feet tall.
Well...
So if that says
let's not get us.
Yeah, you go into your next tangent.
Let's not get us started on the scale of vehicles in 40K because it gets a little funny when you say that a dozen models are supposed to be able to fit in the Rhino.
Now this doesn't seem right to me, but I do have a number: 108 feet tall.
That does
32.76 meters.
I can hit a golf ball that high.
Exactly. So I'm like, that's probably not right.
How many meters?
32.
No, that doesn't sound right at all.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. So I'll let you do your thing, and I'm just gonna Google over here by myself.
Well, it's my number one.
You're number one?
Yeah, it's my number one. We're here. And I've got wisdom for you all.
Get used to it.
I have written 9 mystery novels. I've said this before on the podcast, but we've gotten more popular since then. And novel writing takes a long time, which makes sense.
You're a writer.
There's the middle of the writing process. A lot of times people will sit down to write a thing, and the beginning is very easy because those are where all your ideas are. The end is usually pretty simple because you know how all your ideas should resolve. But you got to fill the middle of this thing. They call it the muddy middle. I have found that vehicle and large hobby project painting has got the same muddy middle, where you get your values established, you get your plan made, you get some color on the thing, and that part is fine. And then you get to the part where I've got to make this part fit with these other not done parts. And so my number one tip, and this is for not just big hobby projects, but really anything that is hard. Why do we do these things? Not because they are easy, but because they are hard, said the communist. What? But eat the elephant.
Oh, gosh.
You must eat the elephant. And how do you eat the elephant, Casey?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. So as I started to do the armor or the trim of my Corn Lord of Skulls, first of all, I like my gold metallics to be on black. I did not have him painted black because he got a whole bunch of airbrush treatment. So you know what that means? All the trim had to be painted black. And I did half of him in a sitting. It took something like 4 hours. And I paint fast. But I'm hammering away. And as I started to move on to the second half, I felt myself getting lazy. And I said, that's the session. Because I want him to be great. I want him to be clean. I want him to look good. So I had to say, I've got to just stop and resist the urge to
purge.
just phone it in.
Yeah.
And so it's become the only thing in my bits box for this week, because every time I sit down to do hobby, it's chipping away, taking a bite of this corn-shaped elephant and eating it. And once you are full, you put it away, then get it out again and take another bite.
Just get back to work. You'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, consider maybe your elephant is you still want to do the 120 work boys.
Ooh, yes.
Do 5 at a time for the next.
There you go.
However many days? How many days would it take? I'm bad at math.
Take a lot.
60 days?
I think I could do it 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit of a machine.
Well, yeah. I mean, say you did 10 at a time, it'd take you 12 days.
I put my soul into my
so I guess
jobs.
24 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 weeks. 3 weeks of 5 every day, you could do it. So say that you mean to do every day and you take 1 day off and you end up with an entire month of eating the elephant.
Exactly.
You can do it.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah. And I'm talking about eating the elephant with some quality.
Just
right?
a little bit.
Just a little bit of quality, because the airbrush took care of a lot of big stuff.
Exactly.
The plan came up with ways that you know what to not even bother with.
And if you go in the middle of doing the project, you have something to tell you what to do next.
That's right. That's right. It's to go back to the books, it's your outline. I'm in the middle. This whole thing has gotten a little bit stagnant. Where does it go next?
We're in the awkward phase.
That's right. But that's my number one tip for any big hobby project and big model, because they can be so daunting in their complexity and their scale. Eat the elephant. What's your number one favorite Titanic model to send us out?
Now, I will let you know that the for a fact, and I'm looking at this probably isn't right. The Warlord Titan is 200 meters tall, around 656 feet.
Now that's big.
That's pretty big. Now, my number one Titanic miniature that I love.
Such an oxymoron.
I think we all saw where this was heading. The Orc Gargantuan Squiggoth.
Oh, he threw a curveball.
Oh, yeah. Now, I know you guys are thinking it's not a Titan, but it is a Titanic unit. And it is much smaller than a Titan.
We didn't say it had to be a Titan. It just had to be a Titanic
unit. And it is dope. Coming in at $510 retail, this resin kit looks sick.
Show me a picture.
Now, all of the best runt herds can make a squiggoth.
Oh my gosh.
But only the runt herds in the Snakebite clan can make a gargantuan squiggoth.
He's a AT-AT with another AT-AT on top for you Star Wars people.
Yeah, you got any Snakebite war boss worth his salt rides on top of this bad boy in the armored fortress known as the Howdah on the back.
You need to get one of those.
I really do. It's on my painting bucket list, actually.
What do you say he costs?
$510. And now that I'm adult, I'm kind of, it's a little bit more feasible than it was a few years ago.
Ladies and gentle neckbeards, for just $510, as many times as you want to send it,
you can make my dreams come true.
You too can make a poor podcaster and mini painter make their dream come true. This Make-A-Wish kid that I sit across from could, with your help, have his gargantuan orc squiggoth.
Now, this is the biggest orc model on the range, but it is also not the biggest orc creature that has a model. On the mini epic scale, there is an Orchiosaurus. It looks terrible. Google it. It's worth it. Do it. But the Orc Gargantuan Squiggoth just has a special place in my heart. But we should be closing things up now, don't you think, Shane?
We're at that time.
We are.
We appreciate you guys getting on here and listening to us. And we want to hear in the comments, what are your favorite Titanic models, and if you've had the opportunity to do anything with them, how have you gone about tackling them.
Pixar didn't happen.
Yes, Pixar didn't happen on X. We will see you next time.
Stay fanatical, folks.